The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions of WBGR Network. Any questions or concerns about what is said should be directed to the show host, whose information will be provided upon request.
Twist. It's a sexy lady who walks around without being shady, who knows her values, who's gone through trials. Her smiles are captured from mouth to mouth. It's not the size of her thighs she worries about, but the pride she thrives to keep that drive. That cinnamon twist. That cinnamon twist. That cinnamon twist. Ladies, can you feel me? That cinnamon twist. That cinnamon twist. That cinnamon twist.
Hey, it is your girl Tasha, known to the world as the Tasha Carpenter, but everybody calls me your girl Tasha because when you hang with me, it is like you are hanging with your girl. And guys, today I'm so excited about the show that we have for you. I don't know what's going on in y'all heads, but when we're finished, we hope that you have the right mindset when we get done. So for right now, we are going to open up to these wonderful gentlemen that I have on the show. Right. I think you recognize one over here to the left of me.
I've been here a couple times.
I think they know who you are, but
just in case
I'm gonna let you tell them.
My name is Derek Jones, aka Mr. Card Logic, and what I do is, well, I think in some forums I will say a visual life coach, but I say that I'm a life coach with a visual twist because I use these visual aids in the form of cards, and we help you unscramble your overthinking and get you on the path of focus. Floor is yours, sir.
And he's usually behind the scenes, but he's also part of the WBGR family, and he's a comedian too. So I don't know what he's going to do today, but I'm going to let him introduce himself to you too.
How are you, huh? How are you doing? This is Coy. I'm comedian Coy. You can find me on Facebook. Put a message in me and say, hey, I saw you on Hanging With Your Girl Tasha. You never know. You like me. If I like you, you can become my friend. You might get tickets to my show. You never know. You just never know. But it's always a pleasure, to be here with Hanging With Your Girl Tasha. Yes, I'm usually behind the scenes, but this time I'm in front. So I'm about to represent for the nice guys because, I'm the nice guy's advocate.
All right. Now, there you go. So today, I am going to actually put this thing like in your hands to get started. And me and Coy, we just going to flow with it. Because, I mean,
that's right. We all family here. We're going to let it flow today.
What does your shirt say?
Oh, peace of mind over everything. It's words we live by. And part of what we're going to learn today is about achieving that peace of mind so we can make those decisions.
Everything.
So remember, do that free thing for me. Hit the share button. Invite somebody. Hit the share button. And make sure we get a lot of comments.
So when we're talking about mindset, because the philosophy that most of us are aware of and that we live by, I live by, with my brand Card Logic, we turn down the emotions and turn up the logic. So logically, your brain controls everything else, right? So if you have a strong command of that, then you should be able to move about the world in the way that you need to. Unfortunately, a lot of us, and there's two major different types of mindsets. There's a fixed mindset, where most of us live, and there's a growth mindset. And the fixed mindset is where most of us stay stagnant. We stay stuck. It's hard for us to change how we live every day and the things we do and the decisions we make. And then the growth mindset is where you're a little more pliable and acceptable to change so that you can kind of move forward. Commentary, sir?
Yes. Well, here's the thing here. Now, how people are stuck, and I guess the question is why are they stuck? Why they can't get into that one level of growing your mind, growing your brain? Mm-hmm. Why do people have a difficult time changing?
Okay.
The mindset. Let's talk about
So
that.
Let's do this visually. So let's do this.
Oh God.
We're gonna use Koi this time, right? And as you guys know, well, you don't know. I didn't know there was gonna be 3 of us up here, but I'm gonna make it work. I'm gonna do a lot of this stuff on the fly just so you see how this works.
Improv.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna give you this deck of cards, but fan out the white side towards the camera, right? So this is how our mindset, when we have a fixed mindset overall, it a lot of times has to do with your environment, right? It could be the neighborhood you're in, it could be the group of people you're around, your friends. So this will represent like your friends, right? And then you come in and you say, this is my group of friends and I'm going to hang out with them, but I'm a boss and I'm doing me and I'm doing that. I'm not like them. So what you do is when you hang around this group of friends and you're trying to do what you're trying to do to better yourself and hopefully change your mindset, but you're staying in this crowd, the world looks at you, flip it around so they can see the other side of all of the cards. This is how the world sees you. You are just like the environment that you stay in. So if that environment is negative, you're going to start absorbing the energy. You're going to start absorbing the mindset of that crowd that you surround yourself with. So to everybody else around you, it's just like almost like, for lack of a better word, being guilty by association. You know, when someone shows up and they see a crowd of people and somebody did something wrong, they're going to take them all. And so you're in that. So when we say stuck, that's what that means. That's a visual way of you seeing you being stuck in an environment. So the only way for you to change your mindset is to get away from it.
Go to some different people. Matter of fact, when I think about it, I went to a retirement party a couple of weeks ago just to speak to that. Whenever I go somewhere, being a union vice president for Verizon, it was a Verizon retirement party, and the young lady, I love her, but she had assigned me to the table with other Verizon people. And I told her, I'm not sitting over there. Because when I go out, I don't sit around the same people. If I sit around them, I wasn't going to learn anything new. And coincidentally, the table that I sat at, it was wonderful because it was a gentleman there. He was from Texas. And wherever he came into Texas at, they had just found a slave ship down in the swamp that happened to be related to his family's heritage. Because wherever he's at, he showed us all on it. And 2020 is doing a show on it.
I was going to mention that. I did see that. I saw that.
One of the guys, the family member, was at the table that I chose to sit at. So that's the whole thing. I don't stay around the same people because I don't like to be stagnant.
And you got to think about it, ladies and gentlemen. Think about how often you put yourself in a situation to meet new people. In 2019, it doesn't happen often, especially because we had these in our hands all the time, right? And if you're looking to expand your mind or change your mindset, but you're not even doing any of that, you're going to stay fixed. You're going to stay stagnant. And so today we're going to talk about what that looks like. And we're also going to talk about different ways on how you can kind of get unstuck and out of that mindset.
So you're telling me, and I just want to just break it down for those, that's how I learn, to reiterate what you're saying, what I think that you're saying. And also with you, Tasha, so you're saying that your environment makes a difference in part of making that growth happen with your mindset. Okay.
Exactly.
So with you, Tasha, how did you come to that place where you said, you know what, I'm not going to sit next to the same old folks. I'm going to sit with some new people so that way I can learn something new. Like, where did that come from?
It came from my upbringing. I mean, not because my mother or any of my family taught it, but I truly believe that a lot of times, it'll go to my marriage too, my old marriage. One of the reasons why my husband and I are not together is because he stayed within. I say you sit and you eat dinner with people as you grow up, and you take on their habits, their traditions, and things like this. Some people, in being stuck, are scared to get up and go get fed from someone else. It doesn't mean that you love your family any less because you choose to go to someone else and get fed. But with him, what happened is that what he was fed as a child at his table meant when I got older, everything that exemplifies love, a relationship, or anything is based off of my mother and my father. That's it. That's why we had a problem, because he wasn't comfortable with stepping out and creating our own traditions or anything like
Right.
that. So I'm a firm believer in anything you do, even when it comes to business, and I know we're going to get to that type of stuff too. You know, you might grow up with a family that tells you don't take risks, don't take
Yep.
chances.
Yep.
And you have to be able to say, you know what, I love you, but I need to move from this table, and I got to go to a table over here with other people who are eagles, or who are the turtle, the giraffe, and the eagle situation. We'll talk about that later on. Some people are turtles, some people are giraffes, and other people are eagles.
Right.
I don't have time. I love a turtle. I love you, but I can't stay there with you. I need to be with a giraffe or an eagle.
Right. And a lot of times we can call those things, you know, that you carry, they go just generational curses, right? The mindset of, you know, or the lack of having a positive mindset that comes from your parents or your family members, and you adopt that and you live a life based on that. And so even in that case, that's environmental. Sometimes you're going to have to detach yourself from that in order for you to move in the direction that you need to move in.
Will that take counseling? I mean, what if you dealt with some trauma?
Right. I was going to get to that.
What
yeah.
if what if it's something that is just you're just not, you don't have the personality,
Right.
Tasha. You have that personality. If someone's an introvert, how are they gonna make that easy transition to actually be in that, get out of their comfort zone and be more comfortable in being in that environment where they're gonna have to maybe be somewhere where they don't know anybody and no one's really coming to them to say hello, or coming to them to speak to them. So now they've got to come out of that comfort zone, that introvert.
Right.
I mean, that's tough.
Yeah, and I'm always an advocate for, we don't know everything, and a lot of times we're going to have to gain that knowledge from someone who is a little bit more vested in that area, and a lot of us are afraid to do that. A lot of times it falls under the umbrella of mental health, and we're afraid to go seek the help. But sometimes we can't fix ourselves, right? Sometimes a traumatic event may be the thing that changes you into having a more positive mindset. Because like for an example, certain people have events in their lives where they change. Some people, like myself, I've had events, but I also am a type of person that's always changing, like almost on a daily basis. I'm trying to feed new information in. So some people can do it on a rolling basis. Sometimes it takes a word, or like you may go to church or you may go to an event and that catalyst will hit you and you decide to change. Some of us, it takes more time to grow. And so that requires, in some cases, for you to go talk to someone else and have a different opinion so that you can kind of get a different perspective. And so that's why I do what I do, because I know that there's a deficit between the people that need the help and actually going to get the help.
It's hard to look in the mirror.
It is. And we're so emotional and egotistical as human beings that we don't see ourselves as being wrong or going down the wrong path. And so I do what I call in this case, we'll call it a mindset checkup. I'm always checking myself and trying to figure out, like, what can I change in order to better myself? And a lot of people don't have that in them because they don't know any better. And that's what we talked about it's learned behavior, right? And the only way for you to get out of it is to kind of shift your thinking.
Would you say that learned behavior takes, I would say, discipline, tenacity? Does it take those things?
It does. It takes, in order for you to change any habit, it takes a lot of discipline. Like for an example, I started doing journaling, right? And I thought, when I set out to do it, you know where I'm going with it. And I thought that, okay, I made a decision to do journaling. I'm gonna do this every day. I have a journal that like prompts me to even tell me what to put in it. But then I found myself after like the second day, I just stopped doing it because it wasn't a habit for me. So when we talking about shifting your mindset, we're talking about discipline. We're talking about, it's just like if you're on a diet, right? How many people have tried a diet and fell off and never went back? It's hard. And then it has to become a lifestyle. It's a mental shift that you're going to have to make in order for you to affect change in your life. And so you look like you want to say something.
No, I just don't want to be rude to people. Hi, Alicia. Hi, Andre. Hello, Bruce. Hello,
Oh, yeah.
Sharon.
Oh, yeah,
Bruce
then.
has a comment. He says, yes, emotions override our common sense and our dealings. That's not good in business at times.
Nope, not at all. Not at all. And what happens, matter of fact, I got another one for that. Let's do this. Let's do this. So we're going to do...
It's visual time.
That's right,
folks.
it's visual time.
It's visual time.
Hey,
So we-
Bruce, that's when the person's not able to do it.
So we're going to do... we'll just do this. So you take one. No, I'll do this just for aesthetics. We'll put the red one in the middle. So you see these 3 cards. They're all 3 4s, right? And in business, and in other aspects of your life, what happens is because we're so emotional and egotistical and we kind of follow the crowd, when we have a goal, and let's say our goal is to make $10,000, and we look at this one person that's making $10,000 and we follow that one person, and then when we try to do it, we don't achieve the goal. And because we only looked at it this one way, we quit. But if you look at them, they have 4s too. They're making $10,000, but their card is different because they went and got it a different way. But a lot of times, instead of us looking at multiple ways to do the same thing, we quit because this one way didn't work. And so what I always try to tell people in life is there's always a way. There's always a way. You just have to shift your thinking. You have to know that there's multiple ways to do anything in life. You just might not get there as fast, right?
I was asking the question to Michael Jamal Warner, and he was like, "What will it take to break into the entertainment industry?" And he said, "There is no one way.
Yep.
I can't tell you that there's a one way. I could tell you how it worked for me, but that wouldn't be fair because that may not work for you. And then, like you said, then you'll be discouraged, and then you'll get mad at me because I said, well, I did what you did, Michael Jamal, and Malcolm Jamal Warner, and it didn't happen. So, like he said, it can take any sort of direction to get to where you need to be.
Right.
So basically, you're saying you just have to be open to that.
Right. Yep. You have to be open, and I learned that from my profession as being an engineer and a troubleshooter. Whenever there's a problem, you'll look at it one way. The computer's still broken, but there's always a way to fix it, right? But you got to be able to expand how you think and do multiple different types of ways to fix that problem. And eventually, most of the time, you can come up with a solution. And so when I started businesses, I looked at things that way. When I look at friendships, I do things that way. It's never just one way. And you always run into people who are like, I'm quitting. I'm not going to ever talk to this person again. I'm never going to. And I'm like, well, maybe the communication that you had wasn't effective. Maybe you need to come at it from a different angle. There's always a way. I'm a big proponent of that.
We always say phrases that's supposed to motivate people, but sometimes I think the phrases can backfire on us because when I think about it and what you're saying here is that we shouldn't have a cookie cutter approach to doing anything, but usually, particularly, let's say even like in business, you're already always hearing the phrase "copy the right cat."
Yep.
But copying the right cat doesn't mean that you have to be a carbon copy because you have to be able to flow in your own genius. I'm still somebody else's word, flow in your own genius and work the way you work. I'm always telling people you can't do me, but you got to figure out how to do you. But people have a problem with recognizing that there's a baseline, there's a certain foundation where you don't have to recreate the wheel, but those spokes on the wheel got to be a little bit different.
Yeah. And that falls under the umbrella of self-awareness, right? Ooh. Being aware of who you are, being aware of your talents. And once you're aware of yourself, it's just like how you have people who study like karate and everybody takes the same class, but eventually people start to develop their own style within that discipline. And it's just like that in life. Like everybody's different, but you got to own your truth and who you are. And a lot of us are, like Tasha said, we're afraid to look in the mirror. And once you own who you are, then you may find out that you're in the wrong profession. You may be dating the wrong person. This is who I am. But it takes a lot of self work. It starts inside, and then the outside will change. You have to change this. So, look like you was gonna say something.
Yeah. So, because I mean, and I hear what you're saying, and I understand the theory. It sounds wonderful, but as far as how do people continuously put that into practice? You're doing the journaler thing. You had to find out how that worked for you, and that's a disciplinary thing that you learn. But in this culture that we live in this social media life that we live in, it's really not popular to be the person that stands out. It's really not popular to have a different opinion or to look or to be different, because it seems like in this society that we live in, it's more popular to agree with what everyone else is saying, to wear with what everyone else is wearing, to look like everyone else, because that's what the thing is to do.
Right.
Even though some people will still say, well, I am doing me, this is my identity. Well, if it's your identity, because a lot of young folks, I see them and they like, well, I'm just trying to set myself apart. But you look like everybody else, huh?
That's true. That's
your
true.
hair looks like, it looks like Sideshow Bob.
Yeah.
Everybody has a Sideshow Bob hairdo.
Yeah.
So what makes you special? What makes you different? You know what I mean? So it's got to be very challenging. What do you say to those people? What do you do when you're trying to fit in, because you see what's working and you're afraid that, no, everyone is doing it, it's working. If I do this on social media and I follow the trend, trending, then perhaps I'll get the attention like such and such, and then I'll also be on that same level.
Right. And unfortunately what happens when people do that, and it's really sad now because of this whole social media culture and that we're in, and I'm gonna do a demonstration on what that looks like too in a minute. But it's tough, but realistically, life and what happens in life is the best teacher, right? Because a lot of times we'll aspire to be that person, and we'll never get there. And we would hope that the failure would kick in, and a lot of people it doesn't, because they feel like if they just keep trying, just like the example I just showed, they keep trying to do it that one way, and eventually they're either going to quit or they're so emotionally attached to it that they're just going to keep doing it even though it's not beneficial to them. And so it's a very gray area, but at the end of the day, nothing will change until, it's just like anything else you do in life that requires change. You have to make a conscious decision to want to change and to identify it. And a lot of people, they live their whole lives and
it hurts, but it hurts though.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, and that's why a lot of times they have to hear a third party say, "Hey, but you got to be able to listen."
But I think even in Koi's questioning, your questions, I think it's the way that a lot of people look at it too.
Yeah.
Because your question is looking for the whole staircase. That's what I'm hearing when you ask your question. I'm hearing I need to know the whole staircase so I can make my decision. But too often people, they just gotta take this. They gotta take the first step.
You gotta
you
take
don't have to see the whole.
chunks.
You don't have to see the whole staircase to get there.
Right.
You know, and too often, like you said, I think I'm always talking about finding out where you are currently. You have to know what your current location is, and comparing that thing to the navigation system in the car. If you put in just a destination and you don't know where you are, if you don't have a current location, you're not going to go anywhere. But the three of us could all be in our cars. We could all have the same destination location, but we're starting somewhere else. We're not going to all have the same paths. And too many people think that I could sit in my car, put my destination in, and I'm going to take the same route that you're going to take there, when you might be over in Southeast DC. I might be coming to the destination from Temple Hills, Maryland. You might be in Virginia. But that's too often what people do. They don't really evaluate their current location in order to go towards the destination that they need to go.
But is it me, or does it seem like, and I'm not trying to say all motivational speakers, but it seems like some motivational speakers, it's almost like you can't lose with the stuff I use, and then it's almost like if you got to listen to me because I know it. Look at me, look at my life,
right?
And it's almost like they're giving these people
false hope.
They're giving them false hopes.
Yeah. And
I mean, what do you have to say about that? I mean,
well, this is what I know to be true, and this is where my mind goes, because I've sat in, and we all have sat in front of motivational speakers,
and to get the real answers, they say, well, we have a whole table in the
Right,
back.
right. So what happens is, and what I know to be true, is that they feed off of the fact that there's a certain level of desperation coming from you. So they give you a feeling, right? They give you a feeling versus giving you tools. So as long as you're getting a feeling, you're going to leave there satisfied. But when you get home, you have nothing to work with, right?
That sounds like an abuser in a domestic violence relationship.
It is.
They
And
give you a
this-
feeling to hook you in.
Right. And so there's a lot of other facets in our society that do the same thing. But a lot of us are in bad places financially, emotionally. And so if I am a speaker who knows that most of us are hurting, then all I have to do is give you a little bit of inspiration, and you're going to keep coming back. You're going to keep paying that fee to come in. And every time you come back, you're getting another shot in the arm. You're getting high again. Getting high again. Getting high again. And then you got to keep going back. How many people know people that go to motivational empowerment stuff every month? In business, I'm going to do better with my business. I'm going to go see this guru.
Mr. Bruce said you're awesome. I'm glad you appreciate that, Bruce
Thank you,
Oliver.
thank you. You go to 1,000 things to tell you how to improve your business, 0 tools, and you're making $0, but you keep going back, and you have to say why. I'm not making any money, but it feels good.
Oh my
Feels
gosh.
good. And so that's why, like what I do, I know that there's a multitude of perspectives, so I'm never going to say I know everything and this is the one way to do it, just like the example. There's multiple ways to do it. My job is to allow you to see the possibilities.
You got dopamine from Alicia and bait and switch from Michelle Ford.
Yeah.
Wow.
It happens to a lot of us. A lot of people get on that motivational hamster wheel and there's no productivity. There's no productivity, and that's the whole mindset thing. Like once you're aware of who you are.
My goodness.
I already did that. Yeah.
We can't see your comments. Go ahead.
Oh, okay, here, I see them now.
No,
So,
that's the one. That's the main screen. I want the watch party people comments.
oh, you want me to go to the watch? You want me to do a watch party?
Yeah, because you want
Okay.
some people to come in.
But let me. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
go ahead and
address.
do that while I'm doing this.
Yeah, while you're doing it. So, and what you were saying, Tasha, I was listening to this Pastor Todd on Transformation Church, and he made a good example.
Mm-hmm.
He said that there was this one of these preachers, one of these guys he really looked up to, because he's a young pastor. He's really looking up to this guy, and he's like, man, I like what he wears. I like that outfit. I like the suit. So he found out where to get that suit from. So he said, this is the beginning. All I need to do is just put on that suit, put on those outfits, put on the clothes. And he did just that. He found out where to purchase it. He went and he got into the mirror after he tried on the clothes, and he looked absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
The clothes was frumpy. It didn't fit him well. It didn't look well on him. And that was kind of an epiphany. And he says, you know what? These clothes don't fit me. This is not my identity. This is not who I am. I need to find clothes that fit me and something that I can look good in and feel good in.
Yeah. All of that is external, right? We look at people's cars and their houses, and before I know you got to go, but before we do that, I'm going to do this one real quick. You hold those, fan those out. You hold these, fan these out.
I could play tonk with these.
You could. And what happens, this is what happens in life. This is what happens on social media.
Uh-oh.
I'm on social media, but I'm in a broken place in my mindset.
Oh.
And the only way that I feel like I can achieve a better mindset is to be like these people over here. He got a bunch of cards. She got a bunch of cards. I want to be like them. And then when I look at what I have, all I have is this.
Aww.
So
Boom, boom, boom.
I am now going to covet whatever they have going on, whether it's their relationship, whether it's their business or their family or their lifestyle.
Explain the word covet.
Covet.
Give us some examples real
It
quick.
basically means that I want your life. I want to be you. I'm looking at everything that you're doing, and I want that so bad that it consumes me. And I now negate the fact that I even have cards at all because I don't have as many as they do.
Right.
So now I'm dropping this, And now my whole life is predicated upon me looking at what they have. But in practice, what you should do is you should be thankful for what you have. And eventually you can start to build from that baseline. And maybe you may not eventually get what they have. Because everybody's not built to be a billionaire, right? Or a millionaire or a thousandaire, right? But this right here is still a foundation that you can build from. And maybe eventually you start to build, and maybe you have as many cards as them one day. Or followers, right? But what we know in practice is a lot of times when you see this, it's not fruitful behind closed doors. Right? It looks good on social media. Everybody's on social media like this. And then when they go home, they in the closet crying. But you're coveting. You want to be like them so bad when you need to own who you are. Because it's not you're not a bad person. You know, you may not have the money, you may not have the cars, but you have a heart and you have a brain that works. And you can change that mindset to achieve whatever you want to achieve. So there you go.
I feel like the theme song of The Wiz.
I had a post on my page the other day that said, love what you have before life teaches you to love what you lost. And that's exactly what it is. You're too busy worrying about and comparing yourself to everybody else and all this other kind of stuff, messing up your own relationship, trying to be like, well, why don't you do what he do over there? And in the background, I've had people do that. Yeah. They've been admiring a relationship in the background. She was getting her butt beat because the dude wasn't treating her right. Look at Tina Turner. The way she was. You know, people was admiring her, but they didn't know what was going on with her and Ike behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Tough deal.
So
with that,
who's gonna wear the mask?
Whoever
Tasha
wants to
gonna wear the mask.
With that
Get a
being
tight
said,
shot.
guys, y'all want to make sure that y'all return back on the flip side
Get a tight
and
shot.
find out what this is all about. Commercial break.
Are you hungry yet? Come on over to Peru's Chicken, where we're cooking up mouth-watering Peruvian-style dishes like quesadillas, tacos, burritos, yuca, arroz con mariscos, camarones a la parrilla, charbroiled chicken, fresh salads, and so much more. Our friendly staff at both of our locations, Lanham at 9001 Annapolis Road in Lanham, Maryland, or Mitchellville at 12106 Central Avenue in Mitchellville, Maryland, we are ready to serve you. Just come on in. Y claro que sí, hablamos español. Peru's Chicken. ¿Tengo hambre?
You hungry? Want beef? Want cheese? Want greens? Get a fork, get a spoon, get a plate. Eat. You hungry? Want beef? Want cheese? Want greens? Get a fork, get a spoon, get a plate. Eat. Hold up, it's time to get live. It's Pooch and Trey, your five. Been busy getting the bag. You haters is not on my mind. And when we come to your town, you know we shutting it down. I'm dripping way too much sauce. Damn it, I hope I don't drown. Now slide with it. Shoot your fire with it. Slide with it. Shoot your fire with it. Act like you riding the stick. Act like you breaking it down. Be a owl. Be a owl. You hungry? Want beef? Want cheese? Want greens?
All right. Welcome back, everybody. You see, we're down one man, but we're going to still keep it moving. And we're going to talk about this. This mask right here that a lot of us, most of us wear, says I'm good all the time. But underneath that mask, when we're in our relationships or when we're dealing with our everyday life, we try to keep it on. But underneath, there's some work that needs to be done, right? And we got to fix that thinking, and we got to look beneath the mask to figure out what's going on so we can start to heal. We can start to change our mindset, and we can start to change how we deal and act with people. So you can take that off. And so what we're going to talk about now is we're going to talk about this thing called relationships. So the first example I'm going to do, because like I said in the beginning of the show, our minds dictate how everything moves and everything works. So when we talk about relationships, some of those things that we typically do that requires us to have some critical thinking, and we kind of make these mistakes because of our emotions, it looks like this sometimes, right? So we're going to give Tasha a set of cards here. And I'm going to need you to use both hands for this. So, take this one out. So this one you're going to fan out with this hand. And you're going to hold this one with the other hand behind those cards so they can't see it. Now, this is what a lot of us do when we are single and we're looking to have a long-term relationship. We want to eventually get married. This is what happens. So turn it towards me, all of them. No, the other way, So now, towards me, like this. There you go.
Oh.
There you go. So what you guys have to notice about this is there's a black card behind the red card. That's you. The red cards represent all of the people that you are dating and spending time with that you shouldn't be dating. But you do it because you have this emotional thing that needs to be fed, and it clouds your judgment. And what happens is that when the person comes along that needs, actually, let's do it this way, that's supposed to be your soulmate and your life mate, and they want to come and get you, they can't. Why? Because you blocking your blessing. Because your mind ain't right. You say that you want a long-term relationship, but your behavior doesn't track to that. So they'll never get to you because you can't get to where you need to go when you got this big, and using your word, when you're dealing with all these jokers, right?
Jokers.
The jokers are in the way. So you got to get these out the way so I can see you and get to where I'm supposed to be. Woo! Right? So mindset means everything in every aspect of your life. So you guys have to catch that. It's not just in business. It's not just in family. It's everything. You have to take time to breathe. You have to take time to make assessments. You remember I told you earlier about doing checks on your mindset and what your actions look like, because a lot of times we get caught in making all these bad decisions and we don't realize where it comes from. So I'm gonna do another quick example real quick, and then we're gonna talk about it a little bit more because we got a little time.
So what do you think about the person that's in that situation and the red cards actually do move away from the black cards, but no matter what, you always attracting another
here we go.
red
Boom,
card.
got you. I'm doing all this on the fly, ladies and gentlemen. Watch this. So when you do that demonstration visually, hold this one card up, and what I'm going to do is, I don't have the third person. I'm making this up on the fly, but watch, it's going to work. So what happens is that if you hold up that card is going to represent my goal of being in a long-term relationship, right? And this is me. I'm the same color as my goal because I'm supposed to be there. We supposed to be together, right? What happens is that on your journey to that goal, you have some negativity. And when you're chasing that negativity because you have some emotional scarring, when you get there and you're on this track, right? So let's do it this way. When you're going in this direction, you're going away from your goal of being in a long-term relationship, right? while you're over here, this is what you sound like. All women ain't anything. All men are dogs. And you're putting that information into the universe. Guess what happens? You're going to keep going this direction because you're feeding that into the universe. So everyone you meet
attracting the
is
dogs,
going to be this. It's going to be negative.
Anything.
Everything you encounter is going to be exactly what you spoke into existence. So once you shift your thinking and you realize that maybe the common denominator is me after failure number 10, and a lot of women that I've coached will say, it's the same thing that happens every time. It's the same type of guy. And I'm like, so you're picking the same type of guy every time. So you got to get rid of the joker. You gotta start moving towards your goal. The more you veer off in this direction, you're going to get lost. The GPS is broken.
So there are some people that just believe that when they're feeding themselves, they get to the thing is that I don't deserve any better.
Correct. And I actually did a show on that called "I'm Addicted to Dysfunction."
Andre Johnson said those jokers are blocking your blessing.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, all day long. We've all, I have to assume we've all had a joker moment or 2 or 5 or 10 in our lives, and we don't change anything about how we think because we're comfortable, right? We think that that's where we're supposed to be, or I'm attracted to this certain type of person, so once I keep meeting this certain type of person, I'm gonna make them change for what I want to do. And these people, once you reach a certain age, these people they're not changing for you. so you got to really realize that maybe there's some shifting that needs to happen up here. You got to change your mindset and how you choose, right? And sometimes, most of the time, that requires you to fix some things in here
The only person you could change is yourself.
Exactly.
You can't change nobody else.
Because what I hear a lot of times is they keep doing this stuff to me and they keep doing that to me, and I'm like, you're allowing it. If you don't allow it, if you make it difficult for them to do that, there's no way they can infiltrate that because you're not standing for it. But what we fall into, because we're human and we're emotional and we get lonely, we let some of that stuff slide. And we keep letting it slide. And we keep getting hurt. And we keep getting hurt some more. You got to start shifting your thinking and realizing that you deserve more. And you deserve better. Look like you want to say something.
No, share. Just share.
Share and invite.
Latricia said, hi, Tasha and Koi. Koi is gone. That's Derek. That's Mr. Card Logic.
Yeah, we kind of look alike. We have glasses and all that. So the next thing that we're going to talk about in a relationship is, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, and what I call post-traumatic relationship disorder. It's all that stuff we carry from relationship to relationship, and some people call it baggage. But it's really like people don't really realize that it's trauma that we dealt with. So when we're post-trauma, we have triggers and we have things that we either gravitate towards or things that we shy away from. And what that looks like is when you are trying to, I'm going to show you what that looks like visually. When you're trying to be in a relationship or be on the market, right? I always talk about how a lot of people who date aren't ready to date. And so what that looks like is if you are trying to be in a relationship with this red card, just hold it just like that. And this is you. And this is your trauma. It's heavy, isn't it? The only way for you to be balanced in this relationship is you're going to have to purge some of this. You're going to have to look. You're not going to get rid of it. It's a part of who you are, but you can learn how to manage it better. And once you start chipping away at it piece by piece, you may not get rid of all of it because nothing's perfect, right? I'll never preach perfection, but it's a little bit of a lighter load. And once that load's a little bit lighter, this other person is able to work with you a little bit better, right?
I don't want you with all that junk on you. Take your trash out to the curb.
So a lot of us carry that weight, and a lot of us have made some horrible decisions because of that weight, right? A lot of times we look at these people who are doing these bad things to other people, and this person is a player and this person is doing this and doing that. But when you actually look back, it comes from a place. And a lot of times these players been hurt before, and now they want everybody else to be hurt. So it starts up here. And a lot of times the emotions, like we keep talking about, the emotions take over and the brain just shuts down and you just keep doing the same thing over and over again. Look like you.
Let's remember to share and invite guys. And if any of you want to call in and you have a question regarding mindset, we are taking calls on 301-429-9247. It's right here on the back screen if you didn't get it. 301-429-9247.
Right. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like this. I probably got one more for that one, but for the relationship part of it, we got a little bit more time. What happens, I'm going to try to do this with two people. I normally, ladies and gentlemen, the reason why I keep pausing is because I normally do all of this stuff flat on the table. So on the fly, I'm creating it so you guys can experience it in a way that you can see it in kind of like 3D. So this one right here, people have probably seen this in different contexts, but this is what it looks like when you are not mentally and emotionally. I talk about emotional intelligence all the time, right? That's also a part of shifting how you think and how you behave. But if you hold this one up like this, and in some forums they'll call this the purpose pyramid. Hold that one right there like a triangle. And the two cards on the bottom are the two people that probably should be in a relationship together. And this top card represents purpose. It can represent God. It can represent whatever the goal is that you're trying to achieve or become more like. What we tend to do is when we lead ourselves with emotion, we attract to each other like this. And it's just about us. And it's about the emotion. And we lose our individuality and people get lost in the relationship. But when you pull away from that and each person individually works together towards their own separate goals, then they can meet at the top and they can be a stronger couple together. Because if you look at it in front, the purpose is in front, not behind, right? So we have to get into a mode of self-development, personal development, self-awareness, and asking the pertinent questions early so we can figure these things out. Stop waiting until date number 50 to find out what type of person this is, because you're chilling.
Kim says the brother is speaking the truth. Problem is self-evaluation is not easy, and some people don't realize that they truly need it.
Correct. I would say most of us don't. And it's a hard pill to swallow, but there's a point where, and even for myself, there's a point where you really have to get, and a lot of people do like meditation, or you take time out to kind of just sit. And for me, I like to listen to like music that I like to listen to, whatever, and just have that calming time so that you can really think and reflect on your life and what's going on, and just be still. Peace, be still. You have to be still in order for you to grow, because you got to take that time to evaluate and do those mental checks and do those emotional checks and see where you're going. So it is hard. It's very difficult for us to think that we're the problem, or that, we have growing to do, and we think we're good, and we're really not good.
Mask on.
We're really not good. And once you realize it's okay to not be good, it's not okay to not be good and continue to be like that for the rest of your life. We want you guys to live a better life, to live a life of purpose. And even if you don't know what your purpose is, you got to start somewhere. Look at what you love to do. Look at the things that make you happy. The things that don't make you happy, they still sitting there in your face, and you're going to have to make some hard decisions to detach yourself from that stuff.
And that's
sometimes
not your
that's
purpose.
Divorce. Sometimes that's right. Like there's a and Tasha will tell you, and I can tell you too.
Hey, sunshine.
Once you get out of a toxic environment, there's a certain level of peace and freedom that you have. Life is not easy, but once you shift your mind and you realize that you don't have to deal with it anymore, there's a certain level of peace and happiness that you have.
I'm getting chills down my spine just thinking about how much I've grown since I chose to move myself out of what for me was a toxic relationship that I was trying to hold on to.
Yeah.
I always tell people all the time, I'm sitting up here, if I don't know if you're spiritual or if you're not spiritual, I don't know who your higher person is or whatever, but I was always praying, God, please fix my marriage, fix my marriage, fix my marriage. And the one day that I thought he was going to fix it, I went to a church service that was for couples, and unfortunately everything I heard from the pastor, because he preached from both sides, some marriages you stay in, some marriages you get out, everything he told me was to get out, and I was mad. I always say it like this, mad as hell at God, because he was telling me to walk out of what I was trying to hold on to and what I wanted to have different than what I saw as a child. See, there wasn't married people in my family, you know, but I was like, oh, I'm gonna get married, I'm gonna have a 2-parent household, I'm gonna do the best for my children and stuff. So I was very upset when he was telling me this. But the moment that I decided to go ahead, it's like, okay, this is where you leading me, let's do this. I'm telling y'all guys, I always say that's where it was birthed. Your girl Tasha was always here, but YGT came out of nowhere there, and that's why I came up with the whole thing about I'm always being authentically me, because no more will I sit up here and try to just change myself to conform to someone else. Right. I can be submissive to you with no problem, but you have to be, in my words, you have to be worthy of being submissive. You have to be able to lead. If you're a person in a relationship, a man that looks at the parents only as their ideology of what a relationship be, and you are not enough of a man or whoever to decide that we're going to make our own traditions, you're not the person to lead me. Right. Some other people are okay with that, but it's not for me.
Right. And that goes all the way back to what we talked about as self-awareness. Like, I did a whole show about this, and as I go through my journey with Card Logic and just meeting people and experiencing this thing, I'm learning stuff too. And self-awareness is one of those things that's probably one of the biggest things that you have to achieve, hopefully you will, in life, of being aware of who you are. It's a lot of us out here that are living life in this shuffle of schedules and kids and school, and then you might have enough time to get some sleep before you got to wake back up at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. the next morning, and you lose who you are.
Yes.
Right? And unfortunately, but fortunately, you're going to have to be selfish about you and making time for you, because the only way that you can affect the environment around you, meaning your family, in a positive way, is if you're okay. If you fall, all of that stuff you taking care of doesn't get taken care of. You got to make time for you. You got to make time to find your happy place, to find the things that you love and pursue those things. And I guarantee you, the people that really love you will understand. Once you shift that mind and transform that mindset, then everything else falls into place. It falls into place.
Now I'm gonna acknowledge these comments, and then we're running out on time. I want to make sure we get to the business part of mindset.
We can do that.
But Bruce Oliver says divorce ain't easy, but sometimes it is necessary. Kim Wallace said, "Yes, girl, yes, yes, yes." And over here we have Michelle says that peace is priceless. Yes, that peace is priceless. You're so right. You go back to peace over mind is over everything, right?
Yep,
yes.
Exactly.
So mindset when it comes to a person's business.
So when we talking about, because now we're in this era of time where everybody wants to be an entrepreneur, and the society dictates that, right? Most of us are hurting, right? People are living check to check, and so they're looking for different ways to make extra money or replace, whatever job that they're doing. So when we talk about shifting your mindset, this one right here, this entrepreneurship and being a business owner thing, is a whole lot to unpack for most of us, because we're trained to think a certain way, right?
Like an employee.
We come from an environment where everybody's told to do it one way. You have to do it this way, and if you don't, you won't be successful. And I believe now we're in an era, especially with the internet and all of that, people are starting to see that there are other options. And so this is where a lot of us fall mindset-wise when we're starting a business. And even now, I'm going to give you a little bit of some of you are aware of this, but you may not know how it works, right? So we just did the comparison game of just looking at comparing each other, and a lot of people do that in business. And what I've seen in business is a lot of people, like we talk about copying the right cat, they'll ask you questions about your business, but they're asking you because they want to do it exactly the way you're doing it, or they want to steal your idea, and the motives aren't good. And so this is the way that things work now. And I'm going to give you like a little business, because we got a few minutes left. And we talked about, and I'm just to recap, we talked about, because what we talked about earlier fits into the business category too, having multiple ways to achieve the same goal. Even in business, a lot of us quit our businesses without exhausting all the possibilities of what could possibly happen and how it can grow, right? And so now in 2019, in business, we're in this era of the influencer, right? And a lot of people understand what that means, but they don't know how to use it. And so when we talk about mindset, this is how you have to shift your mind thinking, because a lot of us think that we can be just this one man army and we don't need any help, and that mindset of collaborating with people and not connecting with people is a detriment to our, but there's no person that's a billionaire or a multimillionaire that did it by themselves, despite what you may see on TV. That's all fluff. There's a team somewhere doing something. And so this is how you have to attune your mind now in this whole influencer thing that we're in now. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to give Tasha 4 cards. And those 4 cards are going to represent influential people in the community. So this could be a pastor, it could be a business owner that's been in business for a while. Choose your poison. These are people that have influence. They have a following, right? And so this other deck that I have is going to represent the product or the service that you have that you want to get out there to the marketplace. And so what a lot of times we do is we think that in our mind, because we're talking about transforming your mindset, that I have a great product, everybody's going to love it. All I got to do is just let people know and they're just going to come and buy it, right? But in the influencer era that we're in, this is how you need to operate. We're talking about collaboration, but the larger word is called distribution. And most times in the past, and even still now, but we're getting into this whole internet and Amazon and all of that, you used to be able to put your product in a store and you could get more distribution to more stores that it was in. Well, now the influencers are now the store. So now you have to put your product in the hands of all of these influencers in order for you to be able to get your product out to as many people as possible. So once your product is in the hand of that pastor or that business leader or that politician or whatever it is in the community, and now we're in the global economy, so you could be online and meet people from all over the place. Now your product gets out to a lot of people without you having to do the work to actually go out there and push it yourself, right? The cosign means everything now. So when we talk about shifting your thinking and shifting how you do things in business, this is a major way that things are happening. And people will say, well, I understand that we're an influencer era, but what does that mean? Influencer, aka distribution. This is how you get your things out there. And the more you understand this, now we're talking about shifting your mindset to being a networker, networking with people, because there's this thing that's become a dinosaur these days of actually like touching people and shaking hands and kissing babies and all of that. I know we out of time.
It's okay. We got a few minutes, but something that I think that a lot of people don't know, and this is something that it was a broader explanation of networking. Some people think of networking is just about how many people you know.
Correct.
It's not just about how many people you know. It's about how many people that you build a relationship with. And when you're building that relationship with those individuals, then as you're networking, when you're not around, it's going to make them think about you.
Yep.
Too often in businesses, one of the mistakes that people make is that I'm networking, oh, I know you, I'm about to throw up in you, I'm about to tell you about my business. You don't always have to lead with that. If you build a relationship with that person and you're doing something, when they find a need for what you have to offer them, or they run into someone else that has a need for what you have to offer them, do they think about you? That's truly what networking is about, building the relationships in that mindset.
Yep.
So look, we were going to try to get you guys on it, but we got to break down. I know this whole business thing, and we got to do a whole hour on entrepreneurship all by itself, you know.
Absolutely.
But hey, if somebody out there got a mindset where you looking for something, hit your girl Tasha up. I got an opportunity for you to look at. Phone number is 240-545-5695. Hit your girl Tasha up. I got you. All you can do is look at it. It may be for you, it may not. Anywho, Derek, it's always great having you in.
Absolutely. I'm hanging with your girl Tasha.
And Mr. Coy, he's gone. It was great having him in the studio for the first time. We're going to have to make sure, there will be another time that we do it. But with that being said, guys, this is the conclusion of another Hang with Your Girl Tasha. And I'll see you back next week on Monday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern, the same time. And remember, you still got time to hit that share button. And if you came in late, do a replay too.
Absolutely.
Oh, did y'all see how y'all get to Derek?
I don't know if they saw it. I'm going to tell them real quick. www.mrcardlogic.com. You can follow everything there. I'm going to start probably within the next 24 hours. I'm going to start doing one-on-one coaching, so that'll be there. And I have a live show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope. But once you go there, you'll get access to everything, and you'll actually see everything that's going on. So
www.MrCardLogic.com. Get there, guys.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Twist. It's a sexy lady who walks around without being shady, who knows her values, who's gone through trials. Her smiles are captured from mouth to mouth. It's not the size of her thighs she worries about, but the pride she thrives to keep that drive. The cinnamon twist. The cinnamon twist.